Welcome to the Disability Resource Centre podcast, your go-to charity for advice, support and services. We are based in the heart of England and offer support all over the West Midlands. Whether it's information, advice, advocacy, life skills or health and wellbeing, we've got you covered. We also offer services around employment, training, volunteering, community development, counselling and energy and debt advice. Oh, and let's not forget our great carers. We offer support for you guys too. We hope this channel will be informative, helpful and inspiring by publishing a wide range of topics such as travel, legislation updates, services, debates and much more. So stay tuned to see what's coming up in this episode and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Disability Resource YouTube channel. Today I am joined by my colleague and fellow Disability Resource Centre YouTuber, Roy Kimberley. How are you, Roy?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Good. So today we thought we'd try something a little bit different. We're going to look at some recent current events that have been happening in the world of disability, discuss them and hopefully gain a greater insight. And also we want to encourage you guys to give us your feedback on these issues and your experiences. So obviously we have a comment section underneath this video, so we'd really appreciate it if you could give us your opinions and we can open this dialogue. I think it'd be really good. So this article here, it was on the BBC News website, came out last week, and it was discussing the Disability Discrimination Act is now 25 years old. Now, just to point out that the DDA has evolved over the years, so it's not still the Disability Discrimination Act, it's evolved into the Equality Act, which brought together all the protected characteristics under one piece of legislation. This is really sort of a discussion on, you know, the history of the Act and where we are today with it and what we can do more moving forward. And what I like about this article, it actually goes directly to the people who were there and people who are currently using the Disability Discrimination Act, or the Equality Act as it is now, to seek equality in their everyday life. So as you can see here, there are 6 people. They talked to 6 people who are close to the legislation, who have fought for it and used it and worked with it, and they say what they think of the law as it stands and what they would like to see next. So I'm not going to read out the article to you, but what I'll do is I will put the link in the description. I'll just give a brief overview. So here are the 6 participants. We have Baroness Jane Campbell, who sits in the House of Lords, who was a protester back in the 90s, who was there in the very early implementation of the Act. Then we have down here, we have Justin Tomlinson, the MP, the Minister of Disabled People, Health and Work. He's currently working on what he's calling the ambitious and wide-ranging national strategy for disabled people. So he's looking forward into some of the other stuff we can do. Just before him, we had Kalia Franklin, who's an activist and blogger. Last year, she used the Equality Act to sue her employer. She sort of marks like this new wave of new media journalists who are using their real life experiences and communicating directly with their audience over the internet to talk about their experience. Then we have Chris Fry, who's a lawyer and specialises in disability discrimination. He's actually found that during COVID his caseload has increased 7-fold. So it's clear that the Act and the results of it are as important as ever during the pandemic. And finally, we have Mike Adams, who's the CEO of Purple, an organisation which focuses on the economy related to disabled people and businesses. And finally, the 6th person is Heather Lacey, who's an award-winning activist and campaigner. Now, obviously, as I say, I'd encourage everyone to go and read this themselves, but there are some things that we'd like to discuss in here specifically, and I'd specifically like Roy's feedback on some of them. So, when they were talking to Chris Fry, a lawyer who specialised in the disability discrimination, he says this: equality is not having the same policy for everybody without discriminating. Equality is ensuring that the outcome of the policy creates a level playing field. Now that's something that we think a lot about at the DRC, and I think it's really eye-opening just to think about the concept of equality and just think what it actually means and what are the desired outcomes of equality. Roy, what do you think of that statement?
Yeah, I mean, when I was reading through the article, this particular statement really stood out for me because, I can kind of explain this in more detail in a real situation, if you like, in the sense that I won't name them, but there was a major health centre not far from me that I used to attend. But I realised after attending there for a while, there was probably 60%, if not more, of the equipment that wasn't accessible to me. And again, not necessarily any fault of anybody's. I mean, obviously, the particular gym in question did do a lot to support people with disabilities. But the bottom line is only 60% of the equipment was probably accessible to me. And I did raise this as a question with the gym and asked whether we could look at maybe a more bespoke membership for me based on what I could and couldn't use. And the reply was, no, we treat everybody equal, and everybody, we don't differ with anybody. And they were kind of using it in a positive way. And it kind of spells out what this paragraph's about, really. It kind of misses the point. By not changing anything for anybody isn't offering equality or being fair to everybody. It's actually the opposite in my case. I'm going to a gym paying exactly the same as another member, but only being able to experience 60% of the facilities. And I thought it was a little, it was a bit annoying. And as I say, reading this article, seeing that paragraph, I can truly relate to what that's saying. And I think going forward, that'd be something that'd be good if people could take that a little bit more on board. Don't sort of go with the notion that treat everybody exactly the same. And doesn't quite work. It's about level playing field. That's the words people should be using. Really.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think businesses do have a responsibility, but not just to their customers, but to their own employees as well. Because that sort of reminds me of something that Mike Adams says here, who's the CEO of Purple. And he says that businesses don't necessarily see disabled people as customers. They think of them as a set of responsibilities. Now, you've been employed in a various amount of roles for a long time. Have you experienced that? Is something that you feel?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, most of my working life, if not even all of it, I could argue that I've always had this sense of having to prove myself, not necessarily put on me by anybody, but my own sort of feeling that I need to sort of almost prove I can do the job, even though I know I could. And it's quite interesting because and this even was with some people where, let's say, my previous job I used to go out into the community and support people with IT skills, with disabilities, or get people out into the community. And I would sometimes go and visit, let's say, somebody at the home address, have a disability, maybe a wheelchair user, whatever the disability may be, and the carer was there, and I'd be talking to the person about what I can offer, what we can get, what we can try and set up. And I can almost sense this from this carer sort of thinking, bless, how are you going to do that? And it can be quite, without them saying anything, you can just get a sense of it. It's nice to see it can make a complete sort of revolution, because towards the end of my contact with that person, they contacted me, right, can you sort this out? Can you get us that? But I just feel I've had to kind of almost prove my worth to get that response. And I think that's what this particular paragraph in the article is referring to. Yeah,
I mean, thank you for that insight, because I think it's something that so many of us overlook. Because I work in employability for the Disability Resource Centre, I constantly have to remind people that it's the business's responsibility to fit around them, not their responsibility to fit around the business. They have rights as a disabled person through things like reasonable adjustments and access to work. They can be a contributing member of the workforce. And I think that's a really important aspect of the Disability Discrimination Act, or what is now the Equality Act. So finally, there was something here that Heather Lacey said to do with the current social situation, which I thought was really interesting. And she says that diversity and inclusion is at the top of everyone's agenda. We're making some fantastic changes in the world, particularly with Black Lives Matter, but disability is never quite there. People don't necessarily have the same outrage. So that's really interesting. Obviously, Black Lives Matter is a fantastic movement, and I think it's made some fantastic changes. Do you think that the disability needs a similar movement, or what do you think you've learned from the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the Black Lives Matter movement's been really powerful, and let's hope this time round it really will make a difference and make some positive changes. And it's still got great momentum at the moment, and how long may that continue. And like the article said, I do feel there's a sense for the disability movement that the sort of foot has been taken off the gas, so to speak. And yeah, I think over the last 25 years, as disabled people, I think we have made great inroads. I mean, facilities now are so much better. You see more and more people with disabilities in the media, or on TVs, on movies, in soaps. Real positive role models is that. So we have made huge strides, but I do think that we are maybe sort of getting a bit complacent with where we're at now, and we do need another push forward and take it to another level. Because if ever you get to the stage where you think, yeah, we've cracked it, we've got everything people with disabilities now fully kind of catered for, or fully included, then it's a slippery slope to disaster, really, because this is a thing that's going to be going on the whole of my lifetime. It's just hopefully it can steadily improve. So yeah, I would like to see a sort of movement with disability similar to what the Black Lives Matter has. I guess the difficulty in our group, I guess, is it's the numbers, and obviously not everybody in our group, if you like, would have the skill set to be able to challenge it all the time, or demonstrate, like the Black Lives Matter have. So, I mean, that could be the difficulties of it, but I'd certainly love us to see us get some sort of momentum on that level.
That's fantastic, Roy. Thank you so much for your insight today. So as I'll say, I'll leave a link to the article in the description. I encourage everyone to give it a read. And also, please, I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you're someone who has a disability, or someone who has a disability, please just share your stories. I think it'd be really good to have a dialogue on this, and I'll be really interested to see what everyone thinks.
If I could just interject one last thing as well, Tom, just really to get out there to our viewers, is that it's about disability access. Certainly in the environment, is getting a lot better, and it's moving the right way forward. But it's sort of accessibility to big corporate organisations, or big supermarket chains. It's a given there, and we accept that. But that doesn't mean, because that's it. We need now to set the level again, and we need to go up another level. And I think that's what I urge decision makers out there to look at. Let's not sit on our laurels. Let's take it up to the next level. Yeah, okay, we have full access to pretty much any supermarket now, anywhere around the country. How can we make that experience even better? Let's not stay with it. Let's go on to the next level. That's what I'd like to see the movement going forward.
That's brilliant, Roy. Thank you, mate. Yeah, and long may the work of yourself and places like the Disability Resource Centre let their work continue. Do everything that we can. All right, everyone. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to try and put more videos out like this, focusing on current events. So let us know what you think, and have a great day. Bye.
Cheers.